conversation about the wonderful weather that we luckily got, except I didn't have snow, thank God. But it's still better than going in the winter. It's like, oh my God, no. Fall is good. Spring, late spring is good. Summer is beautiful. But beyond that, it's like, no, thank you. Right, it's just one sec. Taking its sweet old time. Not quite there yet. Okay, we should be good. We should be good. Give me 1 second and then we're going to get started. Let me just share this or get this thing. Hold on 1 sec and then I'm going to get started. I love these conversations that I have with myself when I'm getting ready.
I know. Oh my gosh. And when I'm really overwhelmed or busy, it's like the step-by-step thing. And now I just do this. And
Exactly.
then I do that. Is everything here? Okay.
Exactly. Okay. So now we're live on YouTube. Let me hit record here. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Laura Canfield Show, the Awakened Happiness Now Global Series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And my good friend Nan Akasha is back with us. It's been a while, but she's back with us today. We're going to be talking about reconnecting to your starseed powers. And some of what we're going to discuss and do on this call is we're going to talk about what it means to reconnect to your starseed powers, why it matters now, how to connect or reconnect. And we're going to also do some live readings as well. So I know you're all anxiously waiting for that. And for those of you who don't know Nan, she is a heart chakra with legs, a spiritual teacher, master LightBody and shamanic healer, animal and dolphin communicator and seer. She's the author of 7 books and hundreds of online programs. Akasha has the uncanny ability to see right to the core of your challenge. She's called a fairy godmother by her students. Intuitive Awakener, Akasha is like Abraham Hicks on steroids. So I'm so glad and happy that Nan Akasha is back with us today. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here. Like I said, you're looking fantastic. And it's such a blessing that you're this consistent, ship moving forward through these stormy seas of life.
That is such a wonderful way to put it. It's like, we've all had stormy seas, I think, in the past couple of years, right? But are you continually going forward? Is your ship still going forward? You haven't crashed and burned anywhere, right? That's not a nice metaphor, but you know what I mean. You're still going.
Stranded. Get stranded. You didn't.
Yeah, stranded.
Sometimes we do that. I actually saw that in this reading, in this private session of reading. I scan the field first, and I start as they're talking, and we're pulling the energies up and poking and whatever needs to see, right? And I'm watching, and so I'll see different things around or in their body and different bodies. And I saw this person's feet. You were looking down at your feet, and they were standing in sand right next to like water, and there were palm trees, and it looked like super relaxed and beautiful, right? But they were just stuck together, and they were just standing there. And then when we sort of changed our perspective and went into more information, it was an oasis. So you know how there's like desert, like a desert oasis. So she was stuck somewhere comfortable that looked sunny and warm and idyllic and relaxing. But your foot chakra is both like moving forward, but it's also a drain. It's a drain for old energies that you need to let go of. And what is happening to a lot of people right now is that they process and they do the work and they go to the classes, and then they're like, why is it still here? Because it's like putting all the stuff in a trash bag, but not putting it out. It's still there, right? So that was what I was thinking about, is like at first, like, oh, this looks so idyllic. And yet even that can be like, oh, now you're miles away. You're like in a desert. You can't move. You're not going anywhere. So.
And sometimes people don't even realize that that's happening, it's interesting to, for you to see that, in their experience. So then you can tell them and kind of like wake them up. It's like, hello, this is what's happening. Hello, do you want to stay in this space, or do you want to keep moving forward, or what do you want to do? Right.
Yeah. So they're like little doors, or we call them keys, like your field and your emotions and things. And they're keys to what's in your field right now: mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, financial, relational, all the levels of your life body, right? You have all of this information, all of these different vibrations and states here attracting things. And so when we can see what's happening and it speaks to us in a way that says, oh, this is how it feels for you. Or the other day I noticed that this client used to have almost like a corset energetically, like from here, pulled really tight all the way down over her root. And we've been doing different work. And the other day, it looked like a loose artist's shirt with little buttons down the front.
Right.
And so energetically, it was showing us how much she's freed, how much she's loosened, the difference, and that it's really easy now. You could just unbutton, how easy to unbutton, and then just let it fall off. So yeah, it's a lot of fun when you see in the energy field how it's communicating. Everything is communicating. Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Then once you can see it, you can, relate it to the person, and they have the choice of changing it, right? And a lot of times people don't know what to change because they're not sure what there is to change, right? Or how to change anything because they're not sure what there is to change.
Well, even bigger than that, what we're breaking free from right now, and so we have the hot mess and a lot of other things that are happening on the planet, right, is from the patriarchal paradigm, right? Not men are bad, okay? But the idea that there's authorities above you, the hierarchy mindset of, oh, well, there's a guru that knows more than me, or a priest, or a father, or God, or blah, 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 right?
Right.
And so you're looking to do something based on what you think you need and what you want. And you're ignoring what basically your soul, your higher self is like putting on the plate in front of you. Eat this. Look at this. This is what's here. Oh, why does that old fear always come up? I'm so tired of it. Can't I get past it? I want to go there. I want to go there. I want that. I want that. You're never going to get there when you're ignoring this. Right. So, but this is what we were taught, work hard, push through it. And yeah, you have to push through some pretty intense shit right nowadays.
Yep. Yeah. And you do have to work, so don't get us wrong. There is still work to be done.
Well, but it's the work of freeing yourself from thinking you need to know, you need to guarantee, you need to control, you need to plan, you need to decide everything, and then you're pushing your agenda when there's all these doors open around you, showing you other ways you've never thought of, or better ways of doing what you're doing.
Exactly. Other possibilities, instead of trying to control the outcome, which is what we sometimes tend to get into, that mindset of like, if I control this, then this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. Let me just do it this way. When that might be the hardest way possible and may not work, right? There might be something easier that's available for you, but they have that they're blindsided, right? So they have the blinkers on, right? They can't see any other possibility.
Yeah. And it's how we're trained. I was told to, be a really good girl and be the best at everything, but don't be vain and think you're great. And, all these constraints and all these pressures. And we're breaking free of so many of them, but there's a sense of that, then what? And there's also a sense right now of people, they're just tired of doing if you've been on a spiritual path for a while, a lot of people are sick of it. They're sick of it because they feel like they're not changing. They feel like it's slowed down, or they feel like because the pandemic happened and then they lost their job and then their mother died and then they got sick, that this is a sign that they're not good. They're not good enough, or they're not doing it right. And it's no such thing.
Yeah.
We have to learn to read our lives, because every part of us is communicating to us all kinds of realms, angels and nature spirits and fairies and our starseed selves and all kinds of stuff. They're all communicating all the time. And it's us that needs to, clear and part the curtains from this constant drama, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Of trying to figure it out. Because when you let go, one of the most powerful things I've ever seen happen in all the years of my teaching, like 30 some years of doing this work and teaching different ways and stuff, is the current Intuition Awakening class is a certification class. People are learning how to do intuitive readings, multidimensional body scans, and Akashic record readings. And what came through more and more was, don't try to do anything, just witness, just watch. So I'm teaching them and showing them process to do what I do, like to go in and be able to see the energy field and scan the different levels and start to open the doors and connect into what is optimal right now for me to see. And in the beginning, everybody has the mindset that I'm not as good as that person. What if I get it wrong, and all of that stuff. And then in the environment, you just keep getting feedback and you keep moving forward and you keep getting amazed by yourself. But the bigger issue is understanding that you don't have to, even if you're a healer and you know 10 other modalities, of course you can weave them together. But initially, don't go in with your big brain and think you know what's going on. Don't try to do like a Western doctor where they're just looking at the data and they're not looking at you. They're not listening to the whole person. When you just show up and take a little time to sit and watch what's going on in their energy field. Watch what happens when they start crying. Tune into that field. And then what happens is, if you can get through the part of you that wants to start doing something, well, and they ask this question about their soulmate or their money, so I got to find that answer for them, and I got to put it in a way that makes sense to me. And you're over here in your logical mind trying to figure it out, and your sacred feminine intuitive side's over here going, check this out. Look at over here. I could open this curtain. You won't believe what's here, you know? And a lot of them had a resistance to doing self-scans, you know, to doing their own. So I'm making them do 33 days of them. And
Wow.
You get over it.
Yeah,
you get over it,
sure.
and you go through all of that. I can't, and I shouldn't. And lots of programming around from new age healing type things, which we're out of the new age now. Okay. We don't have to be afraid of our thoughts anymore. You know, we don't have to do any of that. And, you know, you can't, a lot of people taught that you can't do a healing on yourself, right? Or whatever on yourself. And there are things you need to realize, because you're emotionally attached and you have blocks. So, right.
Yeah, but there's a lot you can do for yourself. There's a lot you can do
for yourself.
Sure.
And I remember one student came one day and she said, you know, I've been resisting this for 3 weeks and I'm feeling guilty, and I'm just adding all this other energy to it, because she had that program. So she just did it. And I teach, just accept. I'm frustrated. Okay, I'm frustrated. Oh, I'm thinking I can't do it. Okay, what's that all about? Hey, talk to me. Come over. Let's have coffee. Yeah. I know you think that. But how about we just keep sitting here and watch the sunset, because it changes, right? And you watch, and pretty soon it broke through and just led her on an epic healing, which she didn't even expect. She was just there to watch, to witness, to receive some information in whatever way her senses could pick up at the time. So this is the kind of power that's already within us.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. There's so much power within us, but we don't give ourselves enough credit, and we don't trust ourselves. You know, I think Linda said in the chat, we need to learn to trust, but it's hard to let go when we still want to control everything around us by all the circumstances. But it's about being present. You know, so a lot of, you know, the being and just the observing, in order to do that, you have to be present, and being present means being aware, you know, and, you know, like you said, observing, but it's not about, you know, playing out those stories in your head. You know, I said this, I'm going to do this, that person said this. Okay, let's see what the next thing is. You know, it's like, it's not thinking all the time, it's just being, and then allowing whatever shows up to show up, because once you're present and being willing to receive, it's magic.
Yeah. And you can that control that we all want, you know, that I want to know this is guaranteed, that this is going to be a success, and I want to know I will find my partner, and I need to know. Okay, it's program, it's conditioning from our culture, from our planet, right? And it's distraction from inner authority focus. Absolutely. It's that person and this person has the answer, and I need another this, and I have to do this, and on and on. And pretty soon you've restricted all the intuitive pathways that are going, hi, you know, whatever here. And the bigger thing is okay, you know, you have a part of you that wants to control, instead of hating it, judging it, being tired of it, trying to suppress it, trying to ignore it, trying to, you know, whatever, all these other things. What if you sat down with it? You know, what if you just said, okay, it's right here on my plate. It's not going to go away until I see it. You know that being seen and being heard has a healing power just in itself. Yeah. If you've ever been in a horrible place of grief or something, and there's nothing anybody can do to fix it, and someone just sits with you, and they don't try to fix you, and they don't tell you not to feel bad, they just hold you or sit with you and hold your space. It's powerful. So powerful. So if you did that for yourself, and then then your other parts of you can start to speak through you too, like your starseed origins or other things in your Akashic record, other lives you have, right? You have a soul blueprint, so you have so many aspects to it. But if you look at, let me look at what Linda said. So this is something I teach my students, and I say, like, write down, express to yourself like you would to me if you came to a session, or like right here, right? You'd come in and you'd be like, hey, what's going on? What made you inspired you to want to do this right now at this time? Well, I'm having this problem and I feel like this and this and this and this and this. Great. Boom. Now that's how you feel. And it's holding emotion. And the words are showing us little doorways or little keys to what is optimal right now for where to look. And so she said, we need to learn to trust, but it's hard to let go. We still want to control circumstances. So she's stating truths in her current reality that she needs to learn. These are her beliefs. These are energies in her, right? I need to learn. When you think you need to learn, which we all have, and there isn't anything wrong with learning, and we're all going to continue to learn. But if you say, I need to fix myself, I need to find my blocks, I need to, learn this lesson, I need to whatever, you want to start to watch out for those, because those are energies right now that are becoming very, very restrictive. We don't need to find our blocks. We do not need to find our wounds. You have plenty of them, believe me. And all the lives that have this particular fear, like what came up in class recently was hostage. One lady said, I feel like I've been held hostage by this part of me, right? And so we used that word hostage, and it started triggering all this information for people, and it took us in very, very deep. So the idea that you feel held hostage by yourself or by circumstances or old fears or mindsets or money or whatever. So when you feel like you need something, you can't release and go with the flow. You can't come into the present moment because you need something. So just watch it. The next thing is trust. Trust is great. Trust is a wonderful state. Look at the scale of consciousness and just start realizing that when you're willing, you start to trust. You just have to be willing. You don't have to make an effort at it, because it's turned into hard work, which is also a paradigm we're coming out of. Everything has to be a lot of work and time. It doesn't take a lot of time or a lot of work to manifest anything, to be honest, or unmanifest things. But it's hard. So we always look at that word, because we know that there's a part of her that believes it's hard, and a part of her that has a lot of evidence. And we're all this way, right? Yeah. It's hard. Look how hard this was. Look how hard that was. So my biggest spiritual breakthroughs were really and intense, painful experiences in life, right? If we look at it from the perspective that my life should be me going happy and getting married and making money, and then this and that, and everybody's happy and the butterflies are going. This isn't why we're here. We're here for this. And nobody really wanted to tell us that, So you want to realize there's this part of you. Maybe you sit down and talk to it. Maybe you witness it. Maybe you let it speak to you. Once you do that, you can say, well, what if, because it's hard and you have all of this and you want to control circumstances, therefore you keep preventing me from seeing opportunities and synchronicities. And this is a part of you. This is a pattern within you, and it'll show up. It'll talk to you. Maybe you feel it in your belly. Maybe you feel feathers on your shoulders. Maybe you see sparkles or fairies. I don't know. There's a million ways to communicate. So when you want to take this and say, how would I like to feel? So Linda could, and anybody could say, well, if I feel like I need to learn to trust, and that sounds like a job. Okay. Right. Oh, and I've been working on that, and I'm tired of working on that. Stop working on it. You just go to trust. You just look at trust and you say, well, if I go to acceptance, I forgive. It just goes. And I transcend all this drama in this story. So you have to rise out of the story and realize I'm in the story, I'm acting in the story, but I'm also the director and the writer of the story, and I can leave the story and I can see. So what would happen if you didn't need to control, or you didn't want to control circumstances? What would it feel like? Do you know what that would feel like? If you're not signaling your future self now, then you're going to keep in I've got to learn to trust, and that's work. And I still need to let go of this thing to control. And then you start to see everywhere you control. And then you see everywhere people are controlling you, and the old patterns of control start to be triggered. And maybe you get sick to your stomach, or maybe you have, womb issues or whatever. So the whole thing is, you can just look, because you're communicating with yourself, and right there it's speaking to you. We're not really talking about star seeds, but it's fun.
We're getting there. But yes, absolutely, all of that. So thank you, Linda, for putting that in the chat, because that gave us all this wonderful content as well. So so star seeds. Let's talk about what it means to connect to your star seed powers. We all know that we are all star seeds, so that I don't think that's the question anymore.
Yeah.
But it is a matter of, how do we reconnect to our starseed powers, to something that will enhance our lives now?
Yes. Yeah, like a practical thing. Yeah, like when you first learn about past lives, and then you want to find out all your past lives, because it's just like going to a movie and it's so cool, right? And it's not important and it's not relevant. So you just
exactly
you
something
let the ones
so go ahead.
You let the ones that you need to know, that are optimal for you to know, come right up in some form or whatever.
Yeah.
So your audience is super sophisticated in these areas. So it's kind of cool, because we've been, I don't know when people started talking about star seeds, probably in the 60s or 70s, like star shine and all the hippie thing and everything. So it's very interesting how a lot of information, especially how a lot of information on the internet, somebody copies somebody else and they stick it on their website. And so you see the same thing over and over with the same words and the same words. And nobody actually went and had an experience of it, or sorted through all the information to see if they found some core truth to it. So I find it very humorous, one, that there's still this paradigm, this thought that star seeds only started coming in the 60s and 70s, that you're only a star seed if you were born in these years as a crystal or a rainbow or an indigo, and there's not these other ones, and so on and so forth. Then if you go to the other side, because I've studied so many different sacred traditions, mystery schools, shamans, and LightBody school, and sacred geometry, just like so many different ways of seeing the reality, the world, the multidimensional multiverse that we live in. And well, we're all star seeds.
Exactly.
Right. And if we didn't come from the Pleiades to here or something like that, which is fairly common on the planet, is we came from a race that was blended with races that came here. And that's been happening on and off since before Sumerian times. But the Anunnaki came, and all the stories of the ancient gods that came and had sex with all the human women. It's all couched in a lot of drama and stories to give us some archetypical understandings, right? However, that idea is already here, and we have races that ended, like I forget what that Neanderthals, they were coming and they ended, and we went forward because we received some help or some GMO or something, right? So so from that sense we are. But the first thing too is to remember, you're a star seed to Earth.
Exactly. I mean, that's something that I just recently heard, and it's like, oh my God, that makes total sense. Like, Earth is a planet in the solar system.
It's a star. Yeah,
it's a star. So we're all star seeds. So it's like, we don't have to be from another planet to be, to be a star seed. We're all star seeds, regardless of whether we only came from Earth, which is fine too, or we came from other planets. It doesn't matter. There's no good or better. It's that whole thing that people have been propagating forever now. It feels like it's like, you're a star seed and you're better because you came from Sirius, or you came from the Pleiades, or you came from. It's like, no, there's
or
no better.
Where you came from, or you have a memory of where you came from, or whatever. And those are all a lot of fun. But again, these are all just aspects of your soul blueprint. For your particular life, because your soul is a blob of source, and it has many, many, many different life experiences. You're just one of them.
Experiences everywhere, not just
over. Like interdimensionally, exactly. Other dimensions, other times, other spaces, other lives, medieval, future, potential futures. It's all here.
It's all here now. So yes, I'm so glad that we're talking about that, because I think people need to understand that. Don't make it it's not that significant, right? That you're a star seed. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what, you and I, we all have the same potential to grow and expand and learn and be conscious as anybody else, whether we're here from Earth, or whether from Sirius, or in whether we know we are or not, doesn't matter. We have
Yeah.
access to all of that ourselves as well.
Yeah. So one of the things that I really want to invite people to do as to have as sort of an inner intent, or a happy visualization, is to start accessing fifth dimensional consciousness. And there's only one thing you have to know about it, is that it's completely non-judgmental.
Yeah.
There is no judgment, which means that you never see anything and say, ooh, that's good, ooh, that's bad, including yourself or anything you've been through. And you see from above, like the tip of the pyramid looking down into it, you see, and you're, oh, okay. That's very interesting. And it's a light state, right? It's just pure light where there's no shadows. You see through all the shadows. So your star seed self is first Earth. Okay. And even if this is your first time on Earth, and I don't think I've ever met anybody that this is their first time on Earth. So, I mean, maybe before I started doing this work and I had no clue what the hell I'm talking about now, but the idea of the entire planet being a seed of Earth takes the whole idea of what we're going through right now to a whole new level. Because we have a lot of consciousness, a lot of awareness right now that we're going through a metamorphosis, and we're having a breakdown of old paradigms, and we're creating a new Earth, and whatever other way you want to frame it, right? So if we're all Earth seeds, what are we seeding? That means that you are seeding the new planet, but you seed it by who you are, what you think, how you feel, how much you're in anger, blame, depression, and low states of consciousness, versus how much you're neutral or willing. You don't have to be bouncing around in joy all the time. In fact, it's not really a good idea. You want to move up and down the scale. But most people are stuck, and they feel like they're stuck. And I've been there, and I totally understand. And we're all still breaking down, even me, even everyone. And we're all going through the constant roller coaster. So when you realize this, there's a shift in your connection to who you are. When I first got on my spiritual path, I had very little religious upbringing. So the good side, I didn't have to unprogram a lot, but I had no spiritual understanding. I had no religious understanding. Everything was just work hard, be smart, be a success, don't embarrass us. Those were the values. So big breakdown. My first company closed, and everything I'd worked for, fell apart, deconstructed. And I just said, what's out there? What's weird? What's out there? And I started to go, I remember one of the first things, I went and started reading Shirley MacLaine's book, because this was 35 years ago or something, right? Because it was the only thing I'd heard of. There were no New Age bookstores or any of that stuff yet. Other than the one in LA. And I started to look at, what is the weirdest thing? What is the thing that's the farthest from what I was told? Because I just don't believe anything I was told anymore. And I started reading that book, but I went to this bookstore and I saw a book that was Dolphins from Another Planet. There was a dolphin species, and I don't remember if it had the planet or the seed, and it had a little drawing of dolphins coming through from a star. And it was all about talking and channeling dolphins from another planet. And I just was like, that sounds good. That sounds like, and what these things are is like a pillar of light. If you're a seed of Earth, and you start to connect, whether you're actively opening your third eye and working with your pineal and seeing it, understanding it's an antenna or a lotus that opens, and all these different things that you are, but we're all awakening to new senses. We have 360 senses. So there's light languages, not blah, 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 light languages, maybe other ways of perceiving, receiving information. And when you open this channel, like open a little elevator, and you invite that. So First, if you see yourself as a seed for the earth, you're going to have a lot more sense of wanting to cleanse yourself, of wanting to clear yourself of old patterns, of wanting to actually look at the patterns that are done and want to be completed and go through the last little bit of the hero's journey out of the dark dungeon, and remember the demons chase you. So in the heroine's journey, in the archetypical journey, we're at that place where we're trying to come out from these old patterns, and they're right. Well, what if you stop looking down and you start looking up, so to speak, or you stop looking out and you start looking in? Because your soul blueprint, and one of the things of which is your starseed nature, origins and powers, wisdoms, memories, expertise, they're either you'll connect with them within you as an infinite being, or out here. And so it's a difference of shifting your awareness from looking for your wounds and wishing this would stop and working hard and feeling like you'll never get there, and seeing everybody else's problems and feeling depressed for 3 days when somebody shoots somebody and all of this stuff. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you stop being a part of the problem. It means you stop saying, oh, I'm going to wallow around in this with everybody else. That isn't, it might be what everybody around you wants, because it was when I first stopped and participating in the "oh, isn't everything terrible" conversation nonstop. I mean, like, not on my planet, thank you. So then the perspective is you're looking into the vast multidimensional infinite space that you are. And so why now? Because you're waking up so fast. We're moving so fast. Things are breaking down very fast, and we're still coming out of those mindsets and paradigms and beliefs that it's bad when something breaks down, and it's bad when something hurts, and it's bad when you feel grief. Instead, we're empowering to higher states where we don't see and judge everything. We just go, oh yeah, in fact, I think you're a rock star if you've been through a lot of shit in your life.
True, absolutely. And that's the thing. A lot of us who are on these types of calls, we have been through a lot of stuff in our lives, right? And all those experiences and how we responded to them or got through them have made us who we are now, right? More aware, more conscious, more focused on our spiritual growth, our inner growth, more focused on seeing what else is possible. How can we all be more in the 5D than in the 3D? Because we're all moving forward. And so how can we be more compassionate? How can we be more kind? How can we be more just present, even,
and not for everybody else? Just do
it
for
just
yourself.
For us. Exactly.
Just break that whole idea that you have to do everything for everybody else, because the only thing you can actually do for anyone else is take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you stop being the grumpy, depressed person, or you stop feeling like a victim in your family where I have to do everything. I work with a lot of women who they make the money and they go to the job and they clean the house and they do everything, and they feel like they're with a partner, or they feel like they have a paradigm with people around them where they're the only reliable one, and they can't ever break free and nobody's doing it for them. Well, that's your story. That's your paradigm. And believe me, you already have powers inside of you. You already have wisdom inside of you that's been through that and much worse. So if you stop trudging through all that and you just went out of it, it's just a story. We'll just turn off the binge watching of this this show episode for a moment.
Exactly. Yeah, the Alara Canfield show, not the Alara Canfield show, but the Alara show.
Yeah, right. And then we're gonna just start to connect this way. So what's fun about starseed? Somebody said, how do we know? How can we be sure where we're from? So I want you to let go of trying to be sure, trying to know for sure. What if it doesn't have a name? What if we don't know the name of it? What if we've never heard of it? When you talk about being a star seed, we're a seed of Earth. But also, you have to realize one of the reasons why our scientists can't see life on other planets yet is because we're looking from 3D eyes. And life exists on all dimensions. And so when you might be from originally, so there's a couple different things. There's a star origin, and that seed is the first planet you ever incarnated on in this soul. Might be Earth, not often though. A lot of people here, it was the Pleiades, it was Sirius, and there's other ones as well. And then there's other stars or planets in other times, in other dimensions and whatever that you have been on. So when I do a starseed session with someone, we're looking at what's the optimal life or job you had, or wisdom you had, or university you went to, or skill, or understanding. When you're born inside of a particular culture on this planet, you live in another country. I live in another country from our origin country. And I've lived in several countries over my life. And it gives you the understanding that you can't visit it and understand those people. That even after years and years somewhere, you understand deeper and deeper and deeper the mindset because of the way that they were raised. So the same thing's true because you have starseed selves, right? That were born on different places. And whatever that time was, what if it was, you know, so long ago that it was when the Sphinx was being built on this planet? And your culture understood the stars and communicated through their pyramids to our pyramids, because all of this kind of stuff used to happen. And we have Mayan pyramids here that have carvings that the guides call the UFOs. Little person inside of a little thing coming, you know, and all this. So we have, and in Egypt, they have the same thing. They have some carvings of spaceships and all these kind of things that we perceive as the way that people move. It's only one way. So you have all different places. Now, everybody, well, I can't say that. Thank you. I'm being told about 70% of this planet, of the people in a body on the planet right now, have been to a university of some kind on another star. What does that mean? Well, just like we have universities here, and you might be from one state or one country, and you go to a different state or a different country because they have a university that specializes in what you want to do. Well, the stars have the same thing. So lots of people are going to the Pleiades in their dreams at night, and going to different universities. And what I've seen in a lot of the sessions in the last 2 months, I would say definitely, and accelerated since the eclipse, is people are being asked to come back to their schooling in the stars because they abandoned it at some point. They didn't complete it. And that was a state of working either consciously because you were on that planet or any other planet and you were attending that, or in this life, maybe previous to this moment, you were, maybe when you were a child, you were leaving every night and you were going there, or you were doing stuff. Or maybe you haven't yet in this life. And that part of this life is to complete all the patterns and the pain that you've been going through and get to the point where you can just be like, you know, it doesn't matter what everybody told me and thinks of me. I'm just going to be present in my own self and see the groovy thing that I am. And you start to realize that you have an affinity for something, or you feel good about something, or you really like, do you really know what you want? Or is it based on what other people want for you? You start doing this work long enough and you get into that conversation, and it's like pulling off these layers of you should be this and you can't be that, and you didn't do this, and you're not young enough, and you're not thin enough, and whatever, until you know, la, 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 la. And then you finally get to the core of like this amazing, magnificent being that you are, and you're designed to communicate with other realms on this planet and off planet, and to elements, and to celestials, and to angelic realms, and to the Elohim, and to the Pleiadians, and to the Syrians, and whatever. And you just don't need to talk to all of them, right? So you can start by asking when you go into a meditation, or asking when you go to sleep, to reconnect to any mentors or universities on stars that you have an important seed. Now, sometimes I think there's some stories that took this idea. We have these little crystals, and they're coded crystal energies that are in our light body field that are timed to go off. I used to call them soul triggers, but I see them more like these little crystals. You know how you can program a crystal, and then they were embedded, and it was like, you know, at this point, when she does XYZ, then activate. And then suddenly you start seeing all the angels that you talked to as a kid, or whatever it is. So if you hold that, and everybody is being called right now to remember their star nature. Why? because we're an earth seed and we're expanding, we're evolving with Gaia, and it's affecting every other cosmic planet and being. And so they want to be a part of it. And they want you to remember what you know. They want you to remember what's relevant for you to know. You might have been, a lot of the people come to my retreats have, especially at one pyramid, we do an activation in the morning on top of the pyramid, and the Atlantean, the gates open to Atlantis. And most people re-experience who they were on Atlantis and what job they had. And they sort of have this experience of knowing that they were a part of the whole of when this was a conscious society, right? And how they were all working towards maintaining a sphere of consciousness around the entire continent, but also the planet. And one guy is a gardener in this life and a landscape designer, and he went and he was a gardener in Atlantis. And it's fun when you see that correlation, but what was really cool was what happened from there, because he had his own business, but it took him in a whole new way, because he suddenly was downloading and connecting to this. And from Atlantis, there's a lot of people that connected to other stars. There was like a exchange program, right? A lot of people came to things on Atlantis or in Lemuria or in different ancient cultures. There was a lot of exchange students going on as well. So this is a fun way to reconnect and see if you see that. So in a session, we'll be told. One client was told recently, the Syrians, they came and they actually were in her heart chakra. It was like a long, interesting thing, but they were around a corner waiting in her heart chakra, and it was all blue and it had the serious energy, and it's about spiritual higher growth and all that. And that was part of her job and purpose, but she was stuck and she's trying to figure it out over here. And they were like, come back to school, come back and pick up where you left off. And that's where we are. You know, we're breaking down, finishing the old patterns, and we're going higher into the other things. Now, if you feel drawn to particular stars, it's fine. But I would much rather that you didn't let that restrict you. When you're like, oh, how do I be sure this is it? And is it it? And I want a name for my guide, and I want a name for my planet. It's blocking you. Therefore, whenever you have like, I need this, I want that, what's this? You ask and let that go out into the container to be part of the energy that matches the answer. All right. But then you want to just receive that information. So I had a client who I did a guided session to your starseed planet. And again, like I said, you probably have multiple ones. So which one you go to would depend on what is optimal for you at the time, and your higher self and all those other parts of you are guiding that. So you just trust it. And afterwards, she was in tears. She was just, and she said it was so vivid, and she had, like, she described it to us, and she described seeing it and then coming into it and feeling it. And the minute that she saw it, she said, I had a feeling move through my body of belonging, finally belonging, not feeling like she felt all the time. She didn't really care if she was on Earth. She didn't care about her body. She didn't feel like she fit in. She didn't feel like she belonged. She felt like she was too sensitive. A lot of the things many people have. And it isn't about finding where you belong so you can be a part of a big hive mindset again. It's coming back to realize that, oh, okay, now I have peace. Now I can come back into the center of me. It is safe. So you have multidimensional layers. And it was so profound how this gave her the answers to so much. Yeah. I'm adopted and my children are adopted. And my daughter that I birthed died. So I have no experience of being around people that I'm like. I belong to a family, but I'm not like them. Right. And so it was a little bit of a pain, but it didn't consume my life, but it was one of the wounds that I carried. And when I realized instead, why would I choose that? And what's the benefit of that? And I started to see it from a higher perspective. I saw it gave me a very unique mindset. It gave me a very unique perspective. It gave me looser boundaries. It gave me less limits. It gave me all these other ways of seeing things that weren't the norm. So when you connect to a higher part of you, or maybe a part of you on another planet that already knows a lot of sacred wisdom. You know, maybe you were a wisdom teacher, or maybe you were one of the people watching the stars, or maybe you were one of the people that understood more about the creation of the planet and how we're all source. So you hold all of these kind of really cool, juicy things all the way down to the sense of just accepting who you are and relaxing into yourself.
Oh, it's beautiful. And then, and in the end, that's what it comes down to. It's like, yes, that is an aspect of myself. Yes, that's an experience I had at one point, but I am here. I'm here now in this body, in this time, in this space, as a human being on Earth. But I have those experiences that I can tap into if I need to. And it's, you can just ask, okay, I want to tap into my star seed gifts, you know, my gifts from other lifetimes, my gifts from other realms, other dimensions, other this, other that, other planets, whatever it happens to be. You can ask if you're open to receive it and not be trying to control how it shows up, or anything like that. And judging yourself to be a human on Earth.
Yeah. And it's really cool because it's a healing, and healing means becoming whole. All right. Doesn't mean, you know, I can't walk and now I can walk. That's not healing. I mean, it might be, it's an aspect of healing, but you can't tie yourself to an outcome. Healing is finding the answer, right? Finding the answer to the pain, finding the doorway through. And so a lot of the pains or barriers or blocks that you might have, or beliefs about yourself, a lot that's happening right now is a breakdown of our identities. And so what you have is the opportunity to see that your perceived weaknesses or challenges could be the exact strength that you hold. Your earth self, your fear parts of you, your fear girl in your head, your old soul contracts and the lives that you have pain and all that stuff is just like, no, I don't want you knowing your powers. I don't want you connecting to all that. It got you burned at the stake once or whatever. And so what's interesting is I did a starseed session this week with a client, and she perceives herself as very weak. She's a small female in her body. And she realized that her identity, her whole life, is that she's vulnerable, that she's weak, and that she needs to. She like married so that she was protected. You know, she said, I know now that I married for the protector, not for love, you know, and that entire paradigm colored everything she did, everything she chose for herself and how she's seen herself. And she did the intuition awakening class this summer. And then she just triggered and opened so much that she opened this well of grief that came up in her heart, and she had to process it for many weeks. And then she came and she said, you know, I'm just ready to not have this darkness in my heart anymore, to not just feel weighed down by it. And she chose the starseed session, and she didn't know why. I'm always curious why that session versus something else. And what happened was just absolutely stunning, because it answered all of it. And we're going by Antares this week. Friday through Sunday, there's the sun is lighting up the royal star of Antares, which is in the heart of Scorpio. So it's a heart gateway being lit up by the sun and all the things that means. And so Antares actually happens to be one of her stars that she's seeded from. So it's a huge weekend. Then I did a session later where that person told me that was one of their stars. I'm like, whoa, this is really trippy. Kind of all the stars that these people could be connected to. However, because that star is what? It's a heart star. It's a royal heart. What is royal? Royal always means our truth, our inner authority, that acceptance that we have everything we need, that we're supported, we're loved, and we're supposed to stand in our power, and we're supposed to decide for ourselves, right? And it's all that sense of opening the crown and connecting and so on. So her heart issue, based on her perception of being weak or vulnerable, and then being unhappy now because she's trapped in circumstances in her life that her previous choices made. And this is not an uncommon scenario, right? And so what happened was they showed her that they manifested this Egyptian temple looking place that is actually a temple in Egypt, we found out later, which is a star portal to Antares and to another planet. And then it turned into kind of a cosmic gate, and all of the carvings started to talk and attune her and things. And then they showed us that each of these three things, she used to work with the Stargate. And when she reactivates this, she now connects to these three stars, and they create a wholeness and a trinity, and all different things came on, and she got a sacral attunement. And it was just crazy. But what was stunning, and I'm going to actually listen to it again, because at the end, they showed us that each of these stars that are vital to her, and now she can reconnect to this and play with it and keep going, is a part of the heart. So one is that deep, still. Scorpio is subconscious, right? It's that energy of deep, still emotion, secrets, sorcery, shame, power, mystery. And it's that deep part of the heart that's actually full of power, but people hide it, and it's embodying that. And it was telling her, you already have this. You've been through all this pain. You've lived in the dark heart. You could take anything else and it wouldn't compare to what you've been through. And it showed each of these layers of her heart that connect in these things that come back together in its whole, not changing who she is, but acknowledging and realizing she has a very, very strong heart. So this perception of weakness is a complete illusion, but it has been what she's been playing out in her life.
Right. Wow. That's powerful. And I'm sure that's going to start to change the way she behaves and thinks about herself, and how she, moves forward in life. Now that she knows she's not really that weak, that was just a program she was playing. And now it's time to change that program to remember, because she has remembered how strong she really is and how powerful she really is.
Yeah. And what's fun is at the end of the sessions, we kind of talk, and the person tells me, and they fill me in with information I didn't know. She was like, oh my gosh, I had that and this and this, and I really, whatever. And everything ties together. And then they have the recording, and they can listen to it for the notes, because there's so much information that came through that they need to ground and take notes. But then they usually are told to listen to it 3 to 7 days or something, because it's a healing, because it's a connection, because it's an integration. It's continuing to happen. She needs to go back and reconnect to this portal. And this one in particular has a lot of elements. So she'll work with it for a while.
Nice. Wow. Good for her that she chose that and is willing to receive it now.
Yeah. Okay, good. So people want to have some questions or something?
Yeah. So if you'd like to ask or get a mini reading with Nan, you can raise your hand. And yeah, you have to raise your hand, because I think, Nan, you need to talk to the people, right?
Yeah, you can type in there, but if you want to talk, it's fun. It's more fun.
Yeah, it's more fun. So we already have some hands raised. So we're going to go with Odile first. Odile, you want to unmute yourself? And so what do they need to tell you?
If you have any particular question at all, is there anything in particular that's right on the top of your mind or your heart?
Yeah, go ahead, Odile.
Hi. Anything you can tell me about love?
About love. Okay.
Future partner.
Okay, so any kind of love.
She wants a relationship.
Okay. All right. And so what's vibrating through you is like, what I'm seeing is this question, this signal goes out from the heart, and then it sort of hits a wall, boom, 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 and it vibrates back and forth here. So are you willing to connect to love in all forms? Self-love, love of, everything that's happened to you that way?
Yes, I would.
Okay, good. Odile. Your name is quite nice. It has a really interesting vibration to it. All right. So just relax, and I want you to drop into your heart, bring your awareness inside, say in your heart that you're ready and willing and open and receptive to receive whatever connection or message in any way, conscious or unconscious, from your starseed origins powers that are optimal to help you, to assist you, to guide you, to remind you, to help you release, remember, receive around this topic of love, partnership, Partnership. All right. So seeing an egg shape, and you're sitting in it. It's almost like a little egg flying through space, because it's like all glass. And I just see you from behind sitting, and someone sitting next to you, like you were sitting on armchairs in the living room, but everything in front of you is just infinite space. It's stars and space, and you're just very comfortable, very casual, and you're going somewhere. Mm-hmm. Mm. So I can see the heads now. They're not human. They're different. I don't have any idea what. And they seem to hold hands. And when they're not holding hands, there's an energy frequency moving, kind of like, and it comes out of your partner as a green kind of energy, and it comes out of you with some purple and some blue. And so there's a connection. It's coming from the throat all the way down. Oh, it's cut off. So it used to come, you used to have this connection, and this is how you want to connect the partner you had in this other star life. And well, I feel like you were explorers, but not in the sense of like being Star Trek, but you were able to travel together, whether it was actually, but this seemed more like a space where you sat, and then you vibrated together, and you expanded the space, and you created a portal, and you were able to travel in your own light bodies. So not like in a spaceship. And if you see yourself, if you sit in this egg shape, like it's all glass, and you're in this comfy chair, and you're just sort of holding hands, and then reconnect. So what's missing right now is the root and the sacral. You're connected from the throat. Well, you're not connected, but they're showing that as each of you radiates this energy, it comes into the center, and it's sort of like a zipper, that it blends like that, and it just vibrates up and down. And there's this very soft, it's a lot of communication. So whether this particular star, they communicate, there's so many ways to communicate. Everybody communicates energetically, but not consciously. This is a conscious communication that was either normal for the planet or something you two achieved. Now they're showing me someone died, you died, your neck broke, and he's carrying you like this somewhere, and your neck is back. So there's a broken, there's some kind of broken karma, but it's not really karma. It's like a broken life path that you want this person, and yet you don't feel like you can. The break between you, something happened, and it was shocking and untimely, like someone dying suddenly. And so interestingly, though, you've been able to stay connected through expanding this energy from your core. So you want to just see and feel pure love right here, willingness to connect, and radiate that out, and just feel it generally going out your right side, blue and purple, and be ready, willing to receive or reconnect to this person as is optimal. Then you're going to have to realize that your sacral and your root have a break, some kind of disconnect as well. And, energy healing, Akashic record sessions, these different things can help you with that, or whatever you do. But acknowledging it, not like a problem, but now you know where to go, how to be in communication, and now you know where to go from here. How does that feel?
Very interesting and surprising.
Yeah. It was surprising. I've never seen that before. Yeah, well, play with that. So re-listen to this and write down, so you get all the words, and you can start to visualize what I told you, because there's a lot of information there about seeing it, feeling it, and then just letting it unfold. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be grasping. Don't say, when will it happen? Why hasn't it happened yet? Because then you're looking down here. You're not expanding. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome,
Awesome.
sweetie.
Wonderful. Thank you, Adele. We're going to go to Kathy. Kathy, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, Kathy. Is this the Kathy that said she had a dream and I was visited by an Arcturian? I felt so much love in that moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Arcturian.
Hi.
Hi
Hello.
there.
Yes, I had a dream and that I got up to go to leave my bedroom and I stopped and a young person walked in front of me, walked out the front door, walked down to the end of the driveway, and a craft came and there was no conversation. And then when the young person turned around and came back, I woke up. So you were talking about dreams and how they connect. So maybe you can touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason that our dreams, or if you do activations, meditations, and things like my students do, where sometimes they don't stay conscious of what happened. You know, they'll come back and be like, oh, I missed the whole thing. Those are states in which we're able to connect or receive because there's less barriers. You know, the conscious mind isn't going who, what, where, what, who, what, you know, and all of that stuff. So, yeah, very fun. So was the young person to you, someone you knew, or you, or
I think it was me.
Yeah, I think it was you too. Okay, good. And did you see or sense what happened when you got to the ship?
No, I think that we spoke, but I think it was telepathically. And so the next couple of nights, I thought I'm going to meditate on this. And I got my dowser out. And I first of all asked if that was me. And yes. And I asked also this Arcturian, why were you here? Or why are you here? And he said, it was he's a watcher or a seer. And I didn't understand that.
When was this?
This was about 2 or 3 months ago. I haven't asked any questions since then. But I felt so much love in my heart. And so it's like, must be part of my galactic family.
Good. Well, they're showing me that it was like mail delivery, right? Like they came down to deliver mail. So you were given something. And this is the thing in anything that you do, remember that what you are conscious of having been told or received guidance or whatever else is only one tiny level of the multi layers of what's been exchanged or done. So they're showing it like an envelope. It's looking like a legal size white envelope, and I'm seeing the back. I don't see the front where anything might be written on. I'm just seeing the back where it's sealed. And they're showing this is like, I don't want to say regular, but this is not an infrequent thing that they do with you. And there's I'm going to couch it in human terms. So it's kind of almost like the ship came down and the mailman opened the door and he leaned out and he handed you the envelope and he said, hey, how you doing today? Great to see you. How's it going? Because it's like, you know, your neighborhood postman who you know. And there's this big smile right on the face now. There's just a big smile because watchers and seers are witnessing. Sometimes they move energy and travel in different types of energy ships like this one. Sometimes they just move into the ethers or merge in your dreams. So this is fun because this is they're telling me when you were 3, you got these deliveries a lot and that you knew it. Like you were either when you were playing, you would go, oh, they're here. And part of you would go out. You knew how to do that and receive this. They're also saying you have several letters you haven't opened. And the love that you felt is just a tiny little bit of what is in these letters. So they're delivering, but it might, depending on how you perceive it, you might see some writing on a letter, but they're showing me blue love, blue heart, the blue heart. This is love of a blue kind. And if you get the chart of the rays, the blue ray is a protective ray. All right. And it's an angelic ray, and it's a reason ray. And there's a lot of the powers and the qualities of that. The Arcturian, it's a very high spiritual beings. They communicate on a very high frequency. So they're showing that to receive a lot of their information, it's difficult when you're fully in your body. So even if you meditate, but you're still conscious of your body, unless you do this really far out thing. However, when you do that, they know how, and they're showing me a barcode. It's like the barcode, scanning the barcode, and then you come together. There is also a they're showing the envelope in your heart and the flap going up, and inside of that, like another universe. And so these, almost if the letters were stacked, up like boop, 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 boop in a row, if you just started to open them, they're going to actually open sort of a tunnel, a window or portal or a connection more to this. And there is a very big benefit for you to consciously connecting with them, not out of desperation, but by invitation, realization, and acknowledgement. A lot of what's in the way is just being willing to be worthy enough, and whatever that means, because there's a vibrational rate. And then it'll be like scanning, and suddenly the information pops up. So it's like a code.
It's just been a wonderful experience. And I'm just, and it's funny you said around 3 years old, because he said that he's been with me since I've been a young person.
Wow.
So I'll have to, I don't know how I'll open these envelopes, but I'm sure I'll figure it out in my heart.
Yeah, so you don't have to
amazing.
figure it out, okay? That's
Okay, I don't have to.
You don't have to figure it out. You just have to give yourself space, okay? So if you do meditating, or if you just sit and look at a pretty thing, whatever you do, I highly recommend that you get some kind of a routine where you activate yourself, and then you align to your highest good and to all these levels of yourself, so that you can just have like a little coffee chat or a little meeting. There's a space for that, and you don't have to do anything except for just sit with this open. Okay, just this openness. And because they're showing us the heart, this is a great week for that. Just go into the heart. Just imagine, just bring your awareness in from wherever it is, and draw it down into the heart. And then just imagine you sit there and make a comfy place, get a pretty couch or whatever you want to do. And, like you would sit down to open all the bills, but these are love letters.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Wonderful, Kathy. Let us know how that goes.
I will. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. We're going to go to Judy. Judy's iPhone. You want to unmute yourself, Judy?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for taking my call. I'm just wondering, how can I overcome? I have a lot of negative, insecure thoughts and I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm sort of flooded by these negative thoughts. I have a wonderful life. I have a wonderful husband. I have, and I just have to spend so much time sort of meditating and just trying to release them. And I have a routine. So maybe you could help me with that. I would like to have some peace.
Yeah. Well, I would say your routine needs to be changed, because if it's helping you, but it needs some upgrades. Okay. You need to cry. You need to let all that emotion come to the surface. You need to get inflamed and swelled, because it's like, And because you're trying to tell yourself my life is great and this is great and everything's great, I shouldn't feel this way. So you're just in a denial, right? You're in a lack of acceptance of who you are and where you are, and you're stuck back and forth in that. And that's where suffering is, right? When we get stuck in that kind of loop, or we don't feel like we have that way out. So we're just going to this is well, there's Gaia is the first star that's showing up, and because the rose quartz is part of her body, and it is a pure vibration of pure divine love. Okay, so if you don't have any, it's fine. Get some if you can. Get a little tiny piece. I don't care what it looks like, but you can tune into the energy of it. So she's asking you to remember what they're showing me is like overwhelm, chaos, like things start to spin. It was like in order for your well, let me look at this for a minute. We're going to clear a few things because there's too much static around you. Right here. Okay, we're going to get that. All right, so you have two pyramids that are from about your heart chakra to your nose, and then another one from your shoulders to your crown. They're etheric, and they're sitting there. They're embedded within and around each other, and it's a little bit like they're buried. So you don't have a problem, okay? You don't have a problem. They keep saying you're hypnotized. You're in a hypnosis, and you're deep asleep inside, and you need to wake up. And there's a strong connection. It's something like pyramidal shapes, or seeing this as these are power centers. They're very well formed, but the lights are out. So you have these gifts, these skills, you have anchored in a lot of this structure in here. And it's like you haven't gone into the factory to turn on the power yet. And so you're just distracted because you're not having that forward movement, and you have a lot of power. And it's when this power gets turned on that your focus goes from all of this, boom, and very, very focused, very, very focused. So the heart and the throat are like coming together, and then this beam. So you want to come in. Andromeda is very important to you. It's within that you have seems like maybe 2 or 3 different starseed powers. These pyramidal structures in your light body look like layers, like if you had a plastic pyramid and it was like one color and then the middle was another color at the top. They look like this. And so there's 3 different stars within this Andromeda. And this is, well, basically they're showing that you're kind of an important person. You're sort of like the foreman or the boss of the factory, or like, somebody who was sent here to do this job, and you're caught up in the safety. They're showing you that you're sacral, and they're showing like a diaper, and they're just showing like different phases of what's happened in your sacral center is anchored you so much to worry and fear of being safe in the body and the 3D life, and did you do it right, and do we have the money, and is this, and then afraid to lose that, and afraid for that to change, and then so there's all of this restriction, and you're this incredibly strong being, but it's like they keep showing the diaper. Okay, so it's really about thinking you're still the infant, and you're not. and they're powerfully want to connect with you. It's so important right now. And you can come to a starseed session with me. They're on sale, or go whatever whoever you work with that can help you through this, or sit and give it time, give yourself this time. But this is very much like having a mansion, and there's a whole wing that you haven't been to and you haven't turned on. And it's a structure that's sitting here, and it's actually feeling very heavy, and it's disconnecting you from a lot of flow up and down this way and into the heart and from the higher self and all that. Not just you in these powers as this strong person who's come here to turn these power plants on, to be a connector. Like, you're supposed to be receiving information. This is kind of where you're going. You're a bit of a receiver. So there's a lot more that I need to close right now. So they're saying, visualize that, see that, take the diaper off. So you can actually just visualize a little diaper. It's not full of poop or anything. It's just, I just keep seeing this little diaper. Just like, take it off, set it aside. When your kids grow out of diapers and you have a bunch of them, like, energetically give it away, and then turn to, I don't need to worry about being safe. I don't need to judge myself based on what I do or don't have in my physical life. I have everything that I need. I'm right here, right now, in the right moment, and I am ready to put the power back on here, and then let it unfold. Don't be like, oh, I didn't know. Just sit down every day. They're saying that between now and maybe the solstice, around 21st or something, we're dark, right? We're coming out of the new moon, planting seeds. That's dark. And we're still fourth week out of the eclipse. That's dark. And then we're in the northern hemisphere. So we're moving through the darkness, getting darker, shorter days for another few weeks. So this is good, because this is a dark place. It's like, what else is here? Can you clean it? Can you move the shadows? Walk through this, but no, this is a part of you. This isn't something you have to achieve. It's very much like this strong being is standing up here, and you're down here in safety in your lower centers. How are you?
I'm okay.
I told you I keep seeing a diaper. Don't take that as an insult, okay?
That's okay. I have a new grandchild, so I'm changed
That's
lots
so
of diapers.
funny. Well, that's probably why that was the way that was communicated, because it's part of your current reality.
Yeah. Thank you kindly.
Absolutely, sweetie.
Wonderful.
I'm very
Thank you,
excited
Judy.
for you. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. If you can do a session with Nan, that'd be great. That'll really help you out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, awesome. 1 second. So we were talking about your session during the call, but I want to take a moment, because we're like above or past the top of the hour. I want to take a moment and just talk about the package that you have. So I'm just going to share my screen, but for those of you, it is available at lara.at/show/Nan11. I'm going to just share that, and I'm going to share my screen, and then what? Then what?
I know. Technology. It's awesome and interesting.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that didn't work. Okay.
So while that's coming up, one of the things that I have on special now is this starseed alignment session. And I told you a little bit about a couple of sessions and what happens, that feeling of reconnecting to your home planet. A lot of people visit it. They reconnect to feeling it. They reconnect to who they were, or they reconnect to schools they went to, or they reconnect to powers they have, perspectives, understandings. There's like, some people know things about the universe or about our origins because they lived at another time or place. So a lot of this is your own inner, like it says here, galactic wisdom, right? And there's your pain or your fear is usually a doorway that shows us where you're resisting, right? So when you do this, it unfolds on you uniquely. Everything I do unfolds for you, because we go into a sacred space that I create, align with what's for your highest good at the time. And so how it unfolds, what you see, I don't take everybody to a Stargate portal like that lady I told you, that was uniquely hers. But what's fun is that you start to feel more like solid in yourself, more confidence. You reconnect to a sense that of your purpose. You might start feeling more inspiration towards moving forward with your art or writing your book or whatever you felt like you wanted to do. You're going to feel different perspectives. When we can change our perspective, we can really empower ourselves to be free from feeling like I'm not good enough, feeling like, fear of what if I can't pay. I have some clients that are single parents and they're concerned what would happen to their children if something happened to them, or special needs people, or people like, partners who have issues. And so this fear rides around with them all the time. And what happens is that there's all kinds of ways when you start to learn energy to cleanse and clear yourself, to protect others, to help their energy, to connect. And you might be with people, or you might be in a job where you already have unique powers. That means powers. What are powers? Well, maybe it's your ability to be compassionate, or to realize that your heart is actually very strong. And now you start to express yourself more, or you see people with less judgment, or you trust yourself and you make that stock deal on time, right? Or you know exactly when somebody needs you when you walk in the room, or to just sit and be that energy. So the freedom, the idea is discovering more of your soul blueprint, because it's encoded into you. And that means you don't have to try to figure it out or where it is. We go in saying, hey, I'm ready and willing to do it. So the cool thing is when you decide to do something like this, it's going to, from the minute that you decide to do it, it's going to start to work with you. And you're going to have, now I'm going to include some like a card reading from a deck, but this idea that you don't belong, or you're misunderstood, or you haven't been seen, or you haven't been valued, or whether it's been different at different phases in your life, this is understanding. I'm sure that you might look at other people and say, oh, that person is an indigo, and oh, that makes them so special, right? And there's that spiritual superiority thing going on. The good thing is you might discover, you have a connection to Antares or something, and that kind of solidifies something for you. Or you might discover that you've been avoiding that particular energy. Therefore, it's draining you, it's distracting you. It's almost like its own energy vampire, because this part of you has been rejected. And all of these things become fun. It's supposed to become fun. It's supposed to become, it's what you do is you take the recording and you keep doing it and you listen to it and you start to strengthen and integrate that. So what you'll get is a breakthrough about whatever problems you have now, new insights to it. You'll travel or experience different parts of your other lives or your other planets or your other powers, or you'll connect to other mentors. You have a multidimensional nature. So if you've experienced that, you know that. But there's a sense that something's missing. Most people feel that, right? They feel like I don't quite have everything I need, or I'm not quite right. When I was new in spirituality, I used to go to a channel, and there were several people there that they were absolutely convinced that being in a body on Earth was a punishment, and that if they could just do their spiritual work right, they would finally be freed from having to be on this planet. And it's not true at all. So there's a shift in that. One client connected to the pulse of the earth, and then suddenly got energy back. They had different illnesses that wouldn't heal, that started to heal because they were accepting their earth seed and their love and acceptance here, and that they're somewhere safe instead of feeling like they're not. And then that rebalanced state opened them to start dreaming and start moving and getting answers to other problems. So there's all kinds of fun stuff that happens. And we do it live, one-on-one, on Zoom, but we just do audio, so you don't have to worry about what you look like. And then you get the recording, and that in and of itself is a very, very powerful tool. So
wonderful. So that's the Starseed session. And then there's the bonus item of communicating with your past lives audio.
Yeah. So that's a gift to you guys for free. It's a meditation. I think it's 30 or 40 minutes. And you can put it on, and I get the best stories. I get the best stories from people around this. It's so fun. One client said, oh my gosh, I've like met like 4 different lives already. Every time I do it, I meet something new, someone new. So the reason for it is to start to attune yourself again, to stop listening to everything outside of you, break the pattern, come into a peaceful state. So in all of these, I bring you into a sacred space. I cleanse and clear you. I align you with your higher self. That's with the private sessions or with any of my meditations and in my classes. And we're doing a cleansing class, so you can learn all that too. And then you're in the perfect place for your higher wisdom, your higher selves, to present you with what is the solution to whatever you're going through. So if you have fears, blocks, contracts, if you're afraid of money, if you don't know what job to take, but I can tell you that other lives, past lives, other lives in your soul, they hold wounds and pains that are similar, so they intensify it. They also hold wisdom, experience, and powers. So we do this, you do this on your own, or you can come do it with me, but this lets you go do it on your own, because this is like, she's like, Sealing, one lady was, I was a mermaid and all these other fun things. So she visited a mermaid. So what I've seen over the years is that people's abundance fears are often tied up in other lives where they were attacked because of their money. They lost all their money. They were greedy and mean with their money, whatever it is. And so we have these other parts of our soul. You don't need to know them all, but you can go in there. And again, if you're blocked speaking up because you were beheaded or outcast, if you're blocked using your intuition or expressing yourself completely or trusting yourself, then you get to find those parts of you that have that are embedding that block for you. And what I'm seeing nowadays in sessions is that you connect, you both can dissolve that pain or whatever it was, and you both get freed to move forward on your timelines. And so there's a lot of freedom, a lot of fun, a lot of re-empowerment. And when you redo it, you want to repeat these things. Okay. You may have the same experience 5 nights in a row, right? You might go to that same life and it might be bloody and gory. And then you go in further and you see the depression that came after the everybody was murdered or whatever happened in that life. And then you go back and then you experience, or you see the death in that life. And you may go back and you may see it from above, from a higher perspective, instead of being in the pain of it. So it's there as something you can use over and over and over, and it's free.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So those are both available for you at alara.at/show/Nan11. And so, of course, these sessions are powerful, life-changing, and they're going to give you, like Nan was saying, they're going to give you a new perspective to help you to move forward with more ease and grace. But they're going to, open your eyes, open your heart to who you truly are. And that is a multidimensional being that has had many different experiences on different planets, different dimensions, different realms. And that will show you that, sometimes some of the problems that we're having here in the here and now are, maybe we just need to change our focus a little bit. Maybe we just need to, look at things a little differently, and that will start to shift everything else around you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you have access to your Akashic records. All this stuff is in there too, so to speak, right in the Akasha. But here's the thing that's so cool. When you do this kind of work, when you do your meditation, or you do this meditation with your past lives, or you do a starseed session, or whatever you do, every time you do that, what you experience, the healing, the recognition of the pain, the realizing that it's not defining you anymore, whatever happens, releasing, renewing, reprogramming, rewiring, all these things that happen, you just now put into the Akasha, you put out there for everyone else to access. And it's like it's put out on TikTok and bam, people see it. All right. So you are having a profound effect when you do this. And what I see next year is the rise of the sacred feminine. And what I mean by that is people reaching that tipping point where they refuse to stop listening to their intuition, and they start to access these parts, because there's so many cool parts of you, in your soul that you already have. You've got, I say you're on a fully funded mission. So you came here with the goodies. All right.
I love that. A fully funded mission. I love that. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So again, the package is available at alar.at/show/Nan11. And the Starseed session is available in a two-part payment plan. Anything else?
No, just realize that we'll do it live together virtually from the comfort of your home. And then you have the recording, and it's so powerful what these recordings are. I have clients who tell me that 2 months later, 2 years later, they'll go back and listen to a session and hear things they don't remember at all. And you can listen to it and it keeps communicating, right? Because we can only absorb so much in one particular moment, but then maybe you have a shift. And then the next time you go back and do it, you're a different person.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
You're a different person and you hear something new and you see something new. And this is where you want to be in your present moment, be with yourself, be on your journey with yourself. Stop pushing the quest, feeling cut off or separate from what you want or where you were, or that you're somehow doomed to never have what you want, and stop wanting what everybody else told you to want and be in your journey. That's when the fun energies come to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like, life is it's not about pushing yourself to the point where you're judging yourself all the time and berating yourself all the time. It's about looking at your life and how it is, and and how you're feeling about it in the moment as well. Like how, and there's so much involved in our journeys that we tend to compare our journeys with other people's journeys, right? And each person is going to have a totally different, unique journey. We can't compare ourselves to others. But that's what we do, right? And that's where the judgment comes in. That's where we feel like we're not good enough. That's where we feel like, or we're, superior, in some cases, I guess. But, that's where the problem comes in when we're comparing. Instead, when you have a session like this and you're going into seeing, different parts of yourself, then you really get a different perspective on who are you really, right? You're not just this person who is having these little experiences. Some of these experiences are huge. I get it. I've been there. But, it's like there's so much more that we're not aware of, right? And recognizing.
And you get trapped, right? We get trapped in the stress and the day and the agenda. And we're in a 3D body, so we deal with that. But we're learning to live multidimensionally. It's different than even walking in two worlds at once. It's just acknowledging that this part of us is going through this while we have access to these other levels of us. And you have the support that you wish you had. You have the love that you wish you had, right? You have all these things that we're from a culture. So you have to stop blaming yourself. We are from a culture that said, look at the pain, look at the problem, don't think you're good enough, and all the rest of that. And yet when you just sit with yourself and you invite this space and you just ask for what is optimal for you at this time, for your highest good. Okay. Don't say, can I have this? And do I want that? Because it's a desperate thing. And show me this. I need this, just let go of that, because everything above 3D does not make sense. That desperation, it doesn't prove anything. Here we were taught the more you suffered and sacrificed, the more you're worthy of getting what you want. Right? That's not the truth in the higher realms. And so there's these star parts of you are there to support you, to guide you. When you remember them, like you said, you have this ease that comes like, oh, I'm not this doomed person in this life, or I didn't blow everything because I lost all my money in my divorce, or whatever it is. And you've got to get up and out of it. You got to start living that multidimensional self. And it's easy to go up and play in the higher realms and, run around with the fairies and the angels and the cosmos and then come back and go, ooh, I got to make dinner. But if you connect to these parts of your soul blueprint, pretty soon they're just with you.
Yeah. And one thing I just want to reiterate is like when you are accessing your starseed powers, for example, you're accessing these starseed powers in order to support your journey, your life here on Earth. Exactly. We're still here on Earth having a journey, living our life, right? So these starseed powers, or whatever information we receive or perspectives we receive, is to support our journey here. It's not to escape.
Exactly. And to become more whole, right? So imagine that you're a wheel and you only have two spokes.
Mhm.
And you're going, right? It's kind of how we've been working, instead of going, you know, I'm a kick-ass soul being that has all these other lives, and I've been to other planets, and I've seen other things, and I've done other professions, and I'm here in this life doing what I'm doing right now because this is the perfect me to be, to use those for what's happening right now, to accept those, to recognize them. And then it's like, oh, you got a new backpack, right? Or you've got a new water bottle, and it's really easy to go wherever you're going. You're always connected to that. What happened this year, the second half of the year has been quite, it's still happening. It's stunning. People are popping open. And of course, I've seen through the years people who had like a session that was so deep that they literally like, well, I feel like Superman. And, but usually we have that shift. We heal everything in the subtle realms. We come back into 3D. We have to stay connected to the new us, who we've met or healed or become or whatever in the higher realms, and anchor that into our consciousness and our being. We have the old echoes of, oh, I'm not good enough. Maybe it didn't really happen and whatever. Mm-hmm. But you're ready to pop. I can promise you. And it's not going to happen how you think, and you don't really know. But what I saw was, I did a session with a lady, and she came and she didn't tell me right away. There were like 3 weeks went by, and she came back to another session, and she did a session called Awaken Your Intuitive Powers. And so the specificness of the focus of the session is to go look and what's blocking them from their intuitive powers. What are their natural powers that are ready now? What are they ready to access? All this kind of stuff. And then doing it, cleansing it, clearing it, connecting it, so on. So she came back and she said, well, I'm talking to dead people. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, I forgot, but I could do this as a kid. I would see people who had been in a body who left, like aunt, uncle, or whatever, and they would come and talk to me just like they were standing here. And right after that session with you, they started appearing again. And I haven't told anybody, even my husband. And I was afraid I was going crazy and, all the rest of it. And then she said, so one day, my husband's grandmother, who I never met, she was dead before I met him, came to visit me. So I finally went into my husband and I said, your grandma so-and-so, yeah, did she wear this perfume? Did she have a dress like this? Did she, whatever? Yeah. How did you know that? They said, okay, well, I don't want to freak you out, but she came to visit me and she wanted to tell you this. So nice. This is the kind of thing like pop. That's what I mean by pop. Now, will you know exactly how to do it? No, you'll be Mickey the Mouse with the, wizard's wand for a while. You don't know what I'm doing with it. But that kind of thing happens. And then the next level happened to her about 2 months later, where she started to actually go with these and see them around people when she was walking and stuff. There was another lady who popped open recently, and she's astral traveling. She's soaring consciously through all kinds of realms and time and space, and comes back and she can just say it all, write it down. And she works with human trafficking people. So she has a life full of a lot of that heavy pain, a lot of victimhood, and a lot of injustice. And she's become so strong through that. Now what this has done for her is given her the freedom to start to be the light, because she doesn't want to leave it. And she loves helping the people. But when you're in an environment of something where people are always in pain or hurt, or you're hearing the sad, painful stories, it's easy to stay in victimhood and pity and bring that home with you and carry it around and live in that. And she's become so strong, but through this, right? And now she just got freed. And she's like, oh, I come in and I watch, I witness, I tune into these, parts of me. And then I watch the children and I can see their energy fields, and I see when they need me to talk. And she's got this whole other perspective of how to support the people she works with. So
beautiful. That's powerful. Wow. Nice. All right. I was just going to ask you if there's any other last words of wisdom. I thought there was a question rumbling in my head, but it's now gone. So I don't know what it was. But was there any other last words of wisdom? I know we've gone a little bit over that you wanted to share.
Well, Sarah said so many contradictory messages. Just be in the river and push forward. And thank you for appreciating my work. Yeah, and change the word push. Hard, force, right? Any restrictive word, the words are speaking to us. They're the reflection of how the energy feels within you, right? And so don't push forward, let go of being attached to the side of the river and push out into it and just flow. Like it's that idea. Now, energetically, that doesn't mean lay on your couch and eat bonbons and expect money and lovers to show up at your door. Okay. That's a new age thought. That is not where we are. However, the cool thing about some of the star powers is, if you have a Pleiadian life, they're very telepathic. They go, oh, I'm hot. And they think sleeves rolled up, and their sleeves are rolled up. They don't have to push their sleeves up. Right? And so some of those kinds of things, we're learning to become virtual beings. You've seen the computer and the games, and people are thinking virtually, which is really cool, right? I know in the beginning it was like, children should not play video games. And I thought, why? Where are we going? What are we training ourselves to believe? Oh, I have many lives. I can go get new powers. Look at this idea that's in the consciousness now.
That is
yes,
true.
You do. You do. And there's other realms and there's other lives, and and you have magic powers, and it's all, yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And there's a time to just be and float in the river. And then there's a time to, paddle a little bit, like move in the walk in the river if you need to. But
see what's around you, right? See what's around you. One of the things I'm just realizing, this was so funny. The lady who had this Egyptian temple kind of on these 3 planet stars, and we were in there. These two, she said she had a kind of a light gray, blue, thin, tall alien type being that used to visit her as a child. That was her only real memory of like a star type thing. And at some point, a woman of this kind came while she was standing in this portal, and the symbols were starting to work with her. And it was like a grandmother, who stands behind you and puts her hand on your back like this, and then leans down. Oh, honey, you're so sweet. And she was sitting in a chair, and it became like a wheelchair. And then a grandpa, it was a brother kind of a man from that same thing came on the other side. They were both had their hands on the back of her heart chakra, and they started pushing her. So it was like they were running through these wormholes in space, reconnecting her to these different stars in a constellation. That was like she had to be rebooted, and they were rushing, and it was like they were rushing down a hallway in the hospital, pushing the chair.
Oh, nice.
It was so funny, but it was this love, like, oh, honey, we're so happy, we're here, we're helping you. So that idea of being reconnected, but don't need to know more details than what you experience. And then now when she repeats it, she'll re-experience that, and she might start hearing more from them, or start connecting to that and stuff. So yeah, you get reconnected to things energetically, or rewired, or upgraded would be a good way to put it. If you I renovate houses. So when you buy an old house and you have to replace all the wiring, or something. Yes,
exactly. Yep. And that's the thing, like we're always upgrading ourselves. We're always also being upgraded all the time. So it's like, are you willing to change? Are you willing to upgrade? Are you willing to let go of the old stuff that's no longer working, that's broken, that's, old, like those copper tubes or whatever. I don't know. Like I'm thinking.
Yeah, like those screw-in breakers. Those glass breakers.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually have a friend here, a Mexican friend, who said, and they get charged very cheap for where he lives, so his electricity is not expensive. But he went and looked, and he realized he had all these glass breakers, and he replaced it and had it upgraded to a new breaker system, and his electricity bill plummeted.
Wow.
And so it's like that, like more efficient, high-speed internet, we can all relate to that kind of thing. Yeah, definitely. And think about this, if you keep trying to find the problem from the place you're at, you're going to be going like this instead of soaring through the stars and reconnecting to a bunch of stuff and coming back again. And you upgrade by toning and clearing and cleansing your body and getting an energy routine and not going a day without it, so there's also, there's a cleansing class that I'm doing, because I cannot believe how many people don't have a cleansing clearing routine, and for your energy, your mind, your emotions, your house, your body, your car, wherever you go. I'm way too sensitive to just walk around with everything hanging out, And I've discovered a lot of healers and light workers don't have any process before and after each client.
And that's the thing, if you're on these types of calls a lot, you really need to be managing, maintaining, clearing your energy field every time.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're affected by your family, you're affected by your cat, you're affected by the people who used to live in your house, you're affected by, it's like, there's this unwanted toxic energies all around. We talk about how we've created a bubble. We go to the town near us once every 3 weeks. Otherwise, we never leave our house. I go swimming in the ocean. I walk on the beach. It's not like I don't go anywhere that way. But I've created a space because I'm extremely careful with what's in my energy field, who and what I feed my mind, what I'm around. And I know as soon as I start feeling it dragging me down into a depressed state, or I talk to someone and, like after that, I'm kind of dragging around, or something happens and you've lost your mood, or whatever, that means you've just taken on some energy and it's triggering some energy within you. So one, it's telling you, oh, I have some energy in me that I should take a look at, or I want to let go. However, you need to have a tool, right, that you can immediately disconnect, cleanse and clear, protect yourself, clear your space, and all that kind of stuff. So
absolutely. I totally agree. I mean, we need, and as energy beings, which we all are, each and every single one of us, we have that responsibility of keeping our energy field clear, maintaining our energy field, continuing to raise our vibration, etc. It's not one of those things that, oh, I should, sometimes once a month. No, it's like every day, a couple of times a day, even, especially if you're on these types of calls. Or have clients, etc.
I wake up and well, one thing I was taught by a Zen master a long time ago is every time you go to the toilet and you pee, just program yourself that you're releasing energetically too. Oh, good. You're letting go not just of the toxins in your body, but anything else. So I always have to go to the bathroom before and after a session. I always notice I go there and I'm doing my disconnect and my violet flame cleanse and, all my different tools to cleanse and disconnect from that space, from that client and all of that, and then clear myself and come back to my center. And then I pee and I go let it all out, and I flush and I come back and I create a new space. And, And then the more you reconnect back to your center, then if you've got these starseed parts of you, or if you've got other lives, or if you've got other powers that are talking to you, then you're going to be much more likely to connect or to hear or to sense them and have a magical life. The minute I get sucked into somebody else's emotional drama, and I feel like you're going that way, and it doesn't happen a lot, but it happens. And I go, oh, wait, because I know immediately when I start feeling kind of down and doomy, that's not right. That's not me. Right?
Exactly. And that part of that is recognizing your energy and what's yours and what's not, and the shift that happens.
So then if you know how to just disconnect, cleanse and clear, bring yourself back to center, and then you have a little mantra or something that you can say. Like mine is oh no, not on my planet. I live a magical life. So on my planet, it's like, ooh, what's the next step? Ooh, what's around this quarter? Ooh, wow, I wonder what the hell that's going to be about.
Exactly. Because each of our perspectives, our reality is different. So what's happening in your reality is not what's happening in my reality, right? So we have to get that part too, that even though we're a collective consciousness and collective humanity, we each are having our own different version of reality based on our perspective and our awarenesses, even. So it's like what's happening with you is not exactly what's happening with me. And I've been saying this too for a long time, but people, they're not getting that part yet. So hopefully,
and know what? Don't wait for people to understand you. Look for, one of the biggest steps to freedom is to look where you are holding yourself back until somebody else does this, says they're sorry, recognizes you, gives you a raise, you move to a new place, whatever, on and on and on and on and on. It just put a barrier in front, 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 until you're like, but I want that. And you've put all this stuff in front of you. And so you don't need anything. You need to let go, because your inner self and your higher self, you're just like a seed. The seed, you don't have to go tell the seed, oh, remember, here's your agenda. Now you have to stick that part of you out over here. And then you got to break through the shell over there. Like, it knows what to do. You do too.
Yeah, exactly. You do too. You are all powerful beings. And don't limit yourself at all. Don't listen to those limiting thoughts, beliefs, etc. anymore, because you're not that. Wow.
when you're in a low state of consciousness, you're not in the truth of your soul.
That's
You're in
true.
the story of your personality path, and that's
Yeah.
okay. And don't judge it, because you drag yourself down further. You
But
notice
just
that
don't
pattern?
stay in it too long.
Yeah, go there and be like, ooh, yeah, wow, look what's coming up, ooh, jealousy, or ooh, whatever it is. And then you like watch it, you say, hi, how you doing? And, then it dissipates. It doesn't have the power, but you don't carry it around. Oh, this is who I am. Here's my badge of wounds, and here's this and that. And just realize that if you just get the scale of consciousness and you notice where you are every day, or where you are after you talk to your mom, or where you are after you meditate, you're going to see how easily you move up and down.
And we do move up and down, every day, a lot, so just know that you're not always stuck in the same vibration and frequency. You're always moving up and down if you're willing to allow yourself to be.
Yep.
Right?
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
So, just ask to cleanse and clear yourself and align with your soul signature frequency. And then you're going to know that any energies that are optimal for you, at least you've made that declaration. And the more you take back your power, meaning more you believe in yourself, the more you're in the present moment, right? The more you separate from all these stories about you, then the stronger that will become, the quicker you'll feel it. I just command energies to go. I've done some sessions recently where, wow, people are cannibalism and torture and abuse and some of these things we've done on this planet that they're still carrying. And so I do extra cleansing, and I make sure that after a session like that none of those energies stay here. Not that they're bad, but that we're releasing them. And I don't want them to glom onto me or stick to my floor or anything else. So
exactly. Clear. Yeah, absolutely. Release. Wow, wonderful. Oh my goodness, we've talked about so many different pieces of our journey, right? Our journey as a soul, as a starseed, on different planets, different realms, here, past lives, etc. Like we're on such a journey, and it's so important for us to sometimes get a different perspective, and that's what your starseed sessions can help people do, is get that different perspective, and at the same time activate you to, I think, when you do a session like that, you're actually activated to, I don't know, I want to say higher version of you, but a different aspect of you, right? And you're able to access more of those starseed powers. You're able to access more of those gifts that you have all the time, but now you can access them more easily, and then that starts to change the trajectory of your life if you're, wanting to go that way. So who knows what will
you
come
see
up
differently, you feel differently about yourself, your identity changes, your beliefs about who you are. Like that one client I told you who really saw herself as weak and vulnerable and needing everyone else to take care of her and being afraid all the time, and suddenly going, I'm strong.
Yeah.
Most important part of me is strong. And the part she was just really shaking her head at is like, you're so right. I can stand in that dark, painful heart. It doesn't scare me at all. That's a skill, right? That's a power when we're afraid of death, or we're afraid of pain, or we're afraid of shadow, or afraid of not being perfect, or, all of that idea. And so, recognizing, oh, I already have this. I already am this. This is a fun time. It's a crazy time. It's a weird time, but, let go of certainty. Like anytime you hear yourself saying, complaining, blaming yourself or anyone else, you're in a lack of acceptance. And that means that there's not going to be a shift. You're going to just keep doing that. And just remember that you want to accept the pain feelings. You want to let them speak and be seen and be heard. You don't stay there and commiserate with them. You don't go have a party. Right?
No parties with the wounds.
No parties with them, but you say, oh my gosh, I didn't know. Come on, let me help you. Let me unburden you from that. All right. And then you'll start to become more and more in a state where you can sense that, wow, that just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right to feel down, to feel depressed, to feel controlling. And yes, my clients and students, some of them still come and say, I loved this one. What would you like to do today? I want clarity on, about, I don't need to know anything to do the session, but is there something else? Well, because I could see that was just like the pretty little cover. That was the wrapping or the bow on what is that really? Well, okay, to be honest, I want absolute certainty that the business I'm working on will, and that my love, you know, my soulmate will be here, and that this will work out, and that will work out. And it just got more and more intense as she was given permission to say, oh, this is what's inside.
Yeah, exactly. I know. And that's the thing. It's like, we don't really, you know, like if we can just accept that this is what I'm feeling, this is what's going on with me, then it opens it up to like, well, what about this possibility? What about this possibility? What about this possibility? Instead of trying to control it, if I have to have this, it's like, well, we'll see if that's a possibility. And that might not be for our highest good. That may not be optimal, right? So it's like, what's most optimal for you now in this moment? And that's a great question that we can ask ourselves every day, even. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Oh my goodness, this is so wonderful. Thank you. So if you'd like to work with Nan more, you can access her package, which is available at alara.at/show/Nan11, and just enjoy that session. It's going to be so powerful for you to reconnect with your starseed powers, reconnect with who you really are, more of who you are. And it's like so powerful. So remembering and reconnecting and really aligning with who you are, not the limited version, but the more expanded version, not higher, but more expanded and open version of who you are. So I love it. Thank you, Nan.
Expanded heart, expanded mind, expanded options, less pressure, more play.
Yeah. Exactly. Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you everybody for your questions, your feedback as well, and your comments. So thank you. And thank you, Nan. This was so wonderful having you back on the show. It's been a while, so I'm so glad you were here. So thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you, everybody. And let me know if there's anything else I can help you with. I do a lot of YouTube shows and all that good stuff. In fact, tomorrow we're doing a masterclass, free one on YouTube and stuff.
Nice.
So,
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Alara. Have a
all right, everyone.
evening.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now.